friends. Welcome, everyone. So, hey, look, listen. Have you ever wondered what it takes to produce flawless live events that captivate and engage your audience? Because I know I do. So listen, I've been producing virtual events for clients over the last 5 years, and I'm always learning something new. If you ever seen me in the Ecamm fam, I'm like, do I really need this? Like, what does this do? How do I simplify my process? And that is why, friends, I am so excited to have virtual event guru Daniel Chi on the show today as he reveals his secrets to mastering live event production and shares his insider tips for his upcoming Live Producer Playbook Masterclass. So look, listen, if this is something that you've always wanted to do, he actually put all of this stuff together. It's like organized, you know? It's not like a beta. Like, he actually knows what it is that he's doing. So if you're here, if you're tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm here in beautiful sunny San Diego. And for those of you who don't know my good friend, he is an expert virtual event producer and mentor. He's collaborated with some of the most prestigious industry leaders that are out there, like Michael Hyatt. He's also worked on projects for Live Streaming Pros for Stu McLaren, Amy Porterfield. Man, like, the list goes on. And not only that, though, but he uses Ecamm Live, which we all know is my favorite live streaming and recording software. So having said that, for those of you, tap on in, because today we're going to cover the biggest challenges in live event production, how to overcome them. And let's be honest, there are often times when we're doing live events, it's like improv. We're juggling and we're doing multiple things. We'll also talk about things that you need to know in order to achieve that professional quality live stream, the essential tools and setups, so that way you don't get that gear acquisition syndrome, that gas. Plus, you'll get an overview of what's going down next week for his 3-day Live Producer Playbook Masterclass. So having said that, let's go and bring him onto the show. Daniel, how you doing, friend?
Really great. Hold on a second. I got to trim up a little bit. I got to look as good as you. You just look awesome.
Oh my
Hold on.
goodness.
There we go. All right.
You know who we got to look good for? We got to look good for Tech Troublemaker. Hey!
Seriously. Hey? Right. Totally.
We've got the fam in the house.
Oh, wow.
So for those of you who don't
thank
know.
you for that great introduction, by the way.
Man, no, okay, so here's, in full honesty, when I was at Creator Camp last year, and I was teaching with Jillian, with Miss Jillian, and we were doing our own remote production thing, I remember going over to Katie and to Caleb and saying, do we get to go to the other rooms? They're like, no, you have to stay here. And I was like, but I really wanted to learn from Daniel. And they were like, no, it's not a thing. And then I remember going to Luis and I was like, Luis, do we get a recording? He's like, no. And I was like, what? I was like, I completely missed it. So when you had mentioned this 3-day Live Producer Playbook Masterclass, I was like, sign me up. And I think I was probably hitting you up on Slack like majority of the time. I was like, hey, when's that thing coming out? You're like, I'm Stephanie, I'm still working on the landing page. I was like, okay, can I at least buy it right now? You're like, I'm still working on the button. And I was like, okay, can you let me know?
Few messages, few hundred. No, just kidding.
A few hundred.
Yeah.
Yes. Shout out to my boy Terrence, who is
so
hopping
excited.
in. Yeah. Terrence is tuning in from Japan. He says, hey, Steph and Daniel. What up, friend?
What's going on?
Good.
Going on, man? I had, I've spoken to both of these people that you just commented recently. I mean, they're amazing at what they're doing right now. And I think the biggest thing about, these guys is just that they are good students as well. They're great teachers and great students as well. I've had the privilege of even getting on some Zooms with Terrence and just kind of, sharing some ideas and stuff like that. And he's just like absorbing it all. And now he's part of the Live Producer Playbook. He's going to be one of the attendees there. And, I look forward to just sharing some of that knowledge and wisdom that I've thankfully had the privilege of getting, over the past number of years, because there's a lot of stuff to go through when you're producing content, whether it's going to be your own content or whether it's somebody else's content. But in a nutshell, it's really the same thing, So I know I've got this. I don't know. Have you ever received this question before? Like, what do you do as a remote producer? Well,
or what makes it so special? What makes Ecamm so special, or what makes your event production so special? Because I could just do it in Zoom. How do you respond to that? Because I know I show up and I show out, but what's your strategy?
Yeah, so my answer is just 2 words: good luck. Nah, just kidding. The Zoom side of things is like, yeah, you could completely produce a podcast, an event on Zoom, and you can just allow people to speak and become the active speaker. And that's great. I mean, I'm not going to, say that that's garbage, that's whatever. It's good. And I think it's a great start. And what I really feel though is that if you're looking to level up, you're looking to differentiate yourself, you're looking to get your audience or your clients or whoever's watching your live or recorded productions to say, hold on, they look and sound awesome. Hold on, this is a polished production. Hold on, what is this? Am I watching TV or am I watching YouTube? Like that type of stuff. Then Ecamm Live is actually one of the most powerful softwares that I've ever used. Actually, it is the most powerful software I've ever used, but yeah, it's like the easiest to learn.
Yeah.
And so my role as a trainer, as an educator, as a creator of content, and is really just to help guide you along that process, so that you go from wherever you are to the point where you actually increase your confidence. Because with confidence comes knowledge, skills, experience, and all that stuff. So if you're looking to become more confident, knock on my door. That's what I'm going to help you do. That's my goal.
I love that. And it's so funny. It's true because when you do have like your content studio set up, even if you're not producing events for other people or doing your own webinars, you just show up on camera and you look good and you sound good and you're confident. Like literally an hour before you and I just hopped on together, this person had reached out. They had booked a call with me. I never met them before, but they said, "Hey, I saw your portfolio and so. I wanted to reach out and work together." I was like, "Okay." So then she hops into the Zoom and then I thought her audio was off. I was like, "Is your audio on?" She's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so impressed with your setup. It's so professional." And I was like, "Hey, like that's exactly what it is that you want." Yeah, you're just like, you don't want your meeting to feel like another Zoom meeting in that sense. Like I wanted to be the difference that made the difference, and also just give them a preview of this is what it's like to work with me. I show up on time. I show up with clarity and confidence. I know how to communicate, and I could do it visually as well to get your audience to stop, look, and listen to what you have to say. And that's why I'm so excited about you, because let's talk about a couple of the events that you've done and like different setups, because this what I have right now. When I reached out to you and I said, "Hey, like what kind of scenes do you need me to do?" Like you were very specific. Like, "Oh, you could do a two up and then like a one." And I was like, "Bro," I was just like, "Okay." How fancy do you get with your setups of your clients? What's like your favorite one?
Really get fancy at all, to be honest with you, because sometimes the fanciness actually causes confusion, and sometimes the
Mm,
fanciness creates a sense of, oh, which one am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do next. And so, really, simplicity is the key. Simplicity gives you that understanding that there's not that many options to choose from, and so the chances of messing up, which is inevitable, is a lot lower. But for anybody who's using Ecamm Live, essentially there's the camera for you, a
yeah.
camera for a guest, there's a camera for you and a guest, there's a camera with a screen share, and that screen share itself can have so many different options. So you can do presentations, you can do PowerPoints, you can do web pages, you can show
Yeah.
all these different things, right? Just like this scene right here, that's the web page. So really simple stuff, because at the end of the day it's about your delivery, really. Am I the best designer for scenes and stuff like that? No, I'm probably closer to the bottom of the barrel. But do I know how to produce the content and deliver it in a meaningful, clear, and concise way? I think I've got it down, and I'm always improving and always looking for suggestions. But yeah, I mean, Ecamm Live itself, like if there's anybody who's watching this and you have not used Ecamm Live yet, honestly, use Ecamm Live. Just get it going. Now you do need a Mac for it, but that's an easy part. It's really what you're doing at the end of the day. It's like, are you creating content? Are you developing and growing your business? How are your skill sets improving? Are you able to deliver your content again? Clear, concise, right? Specific,
Yeah.
and really, really easy to do. So that's the first thing. I mean, I've produced a lot of different shows, mostly I've been behind the cameras. I've been the remote producer. I've been the
Yeah.
planner that has helped people to create their online experiences. And more recently, it's kind of like, all right, I'm ready to break out of that shell. I think I'm ready to start teaching people exactly what I'm doing. And by doing that, now I'm in front of the camera. Now I'm creating content. And it's been a wonderful experience. Some of the, as a, okay, so I'm going to kind of clarify the air here for people as a live virtual event producer. That virtual event could be over YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Instagram, all these different types of things, or it's live streaming, but it could also be over Zoom, right? You're sending it out to a meeting, you're sending it out to a webinar, you're sending it out to, as long as you're just creating something on camera and microphone and you're sending it out, then that's really, it's your live virtual event streaming. And then the other question comes where people ask, well, I don't want to produce the content for myself. Well, I just want to do it for other people. Well, that's called a remote producer or, or an on-site producer. But really, at the end of the day, the only difference between all those three different variations of the type of producer is that you're either going to be in the camera, like in front of the camera, or behind the camera. One of the two, right? So I was always behind the camera, and now I'm in front of the camera. And it really, I mean, I think for the most part, I've always been doing it for a long time, just not seriously and as the full time gig. But we have a mutual friend, and a lot of you guys may know her. Her name is Luria Petrucci, and she's live streaming pros. And one day I was just watching her online, and I was like, I want to do what she's doing, right? Like I want to be a pro. I want to get paid at doing this type of stuff. And so I joined her community, and she taught me so many different things, even more than I had already known. And I've always been a techie geek myself for many, many years. And she just gave me this opportunity to join the team one day, and I just took it with everything I could, and to provide value for her as well as her company and her audience. And I really just put it out there to her. Hopefully, if you're watching right now, it's like, thank you so much for everything that you've actually brought into my life. If it wasn't for you, then I probably wouldn't be doing this. But I just realized it's so fun, and moving onward and upward and developing more content for people. So that's where this event comes in, the live producer playbook.
Yeah, expanding your wings. Like I said, you've done a lot. And when did you actually make the jump into making virtual live event production like your full time thing? When did you cross that?
Uh, 2020, like, originally I'd actually just kind of, well, okay, so I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been running businesses ever since I was 18.
Yeah.
And my wife and I started a natural health clinic or natural health center back in 2004. And I ran that all the way up until the lockdowns in 2020. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where I decided, I don't think I want to be in this business anymore with this brick and mortar stuff, because we were just eating mud because we couldn't open the doors for the
Yeah.
longest time. And so I decided to go back into the tech industry. And that's kind of where, I think it was May or June of 2020. It's kind of got into the live streaming pros side of things. And then by the end of the
Yeah.
year, he said, hey, do you want to help the team? And so from then on, it's just like, okay, this is how I do productions. This is how, more at another level. But I have been using Ecamm Live since it first started back in 2017. So,
Oh,
yeah.
good. Yeah, back then. Shout out to Tech Troublemaker. It says we can blame Luria for causing a lot of us to hit that record go live button. Yeah, I remember.
Seriously,
I
right?
remember
She's
seeing Luria
impacted so many
too.
people.
Yeah, and I was just kind of
Mhm.
like, hey, I haven't seen another like female live streamer and who's like good at it, you know? And she was just so impressive. And I remember I would speak in her communities as well, and your name would pop up. Like, I know him. And then I saw you more in the eCam community. I was like, I know him. And so again, at Creator Camp, I was like, wait, I can't go there? I was like, Katie. She's like, I'm sorry, Stephanie. I was like, fine. But okay, so let's talk about your 3 day event, your live producer playbook. Is this something
Yeah.
that is designed for people that already know how to use Ecamm? Or can the beginner that says, hey, I want to switch from so and so and start diving into Ecamm and do remote live production because I've heard so many great things about it? Like, who is this really for?
Well, I would say that all of the above. can join this event. However, you do need to understand the basics because I'm not going to be going through how to use Ecamm Live. I'm not going to be going through how to use Ecamm for Zoom and bringing in guests. I'm really more, I would say that you need to at least understand the fundamentals of Ecamm. And that's why, with your free registration, you also get access to my online Ecamm Live Masterclass, which is something like 6 to 10 hours worth of video training where I go in through each and every single button and panel and option and preference and every little nook and cranny of Ecamm Live I go through. And so at least get you started on the path of at least understanding how to do certain things. And then that's where the live producer playbook comes in. It's like, okay, now if you're serious about using Ecamm Live for your productions, your live virtual event productions for yourself or for your clients, this is where the live producer playbook comes in because over this 3-day live training event, I'm going to go over hardware, software, so all of the different types of equipment that a producer would need to create their own content or their other clients' content. So entry level, mid level, high end level. I'll go through that kind of hardware, and then I go through the essential software pieces and how I set up my computer systems. Because I mean, I could use my regular everyday Mac for my productions, but I'm not going to. And so I kind of go over that details of that, during day one. And then day two, we dive a little bit deeper into strategies and systems and standard operating procedures because there is a specific set of things that I do in order to mitigate issues and challenges that come up. Like, I've joked around this before. I did a live on the Ecamm channel a few days ago, and it's like it's not a matter of if something happens; it's a matter of when something happens that you're not expecting.
Yeah.
And so, your SOPs will help you
Oh,
to possible. Oh,
I was like, it paused for a second. I don't know if that was me or
well,
could be me.
I'm using one of my favorite softwares to have a pure redundant connection. Um, but can you
Could
hear
be
me
me.
now?
I can hear you. Yeah, it just paused for a second. It could be just be because I'm
Oh,
also recording on my machine, but that's okay.
oh, all right. Well, I've got an SOP for that.
I know.
um,
Yeah, and for those of you that are tuning into, I mean, oftentimes I, even in between my production with my meetings, if something changes in Ecamm, I will reach out to Daniel and I'll pretty much just say, hey, uh, how does this impact my workflow? Is there anything that I need to do differently? And I remember you were all like, oh, Stephanie, that's the old school way. It's like, that's the old school way? And it's crazy because then like my clients would be like, oh, this is the new. I'm like, man, I'm not even on the new. Like Daniel's on that new. Like he's like in cahoots with Ecamm. So it's like really cool just to see how you guys have all of that. James says it's the Canadian internet that you have.
yeah, it is. It's a little bit of a colder connection, I would say, than California, but yeah. But yeah, so I was saying like day two is all the systems and techniques
Yeah.
and procedures and all that stuff. And then day three is all right. So you followed all your SOPs. What happens when hits the fan? And so that's where day three is all about troubleshooting. So all of the video, the internet connection, the computer system issues, the this, the that, having specific types of backups because you know when you do a live production and you're doing it for yourself. Okay. So if something goes wrong, all right, that's understandable. But now if somebody's paying you money,
Yeah.
they're paying you good money, okay, you better step up your game, right? You need to know how to deal with the issues that could crop up. And so I
Yeah.
actually just finished a live stream for an organization just a couple of weeks ago, and everything in our testing was completely fine, right? And then this one thing that I did using Ecamm crashed the computer. Like Ecamm crashed. And it was in the live production. Well, I had a couple of options. One was I can freak out, panic.
Nope.
And then the other option was, okay, I got to go to my backup. And that's what I did. So I had a backup plan just in case that happened. Because again,
Yeah.
it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I followed my troubleshooting procedures to save the stream and to save the Zoom meeting. Yeah, very interesting pieces. And it's really simple. You just need to know it first of all, and that's what I'll be
Yeah.
teaching on day 3. So, really cool stuff. But at the end of the day, it did happen to be that I found a little bit of a bug because it was a reproducible error inside of Ecamm.
Oh, interesting.
And it's very rare because nobody else was having the problem, but lucky me, I found that
You're so
problem.
special. I love it. Okay, so here's another question for you because oftentimes, like even when I teach people and like they're really good geek heads and tech and all of that other stuff, the part where I see most people have the most hurdle is packaging and pricing and knowing their value and their worth. Is that something that you're going to cover in your 3-day event? Is basically like, okay, so now I've taught you, you have this masterclass, you have this crash course, you've got like this whole entire 6 to 10 hour tutorial on Ecamm. Do you help them over that hurdle too? As far as like now you got to like add an extra zero on that invoice?
We'll be talking about that during the event itself because you don't have to already start doing your own productions or your remote productions. I'm going to tell you right now, like you can create content for yourself, and whatever that content may be, it's worth $10 billion out there. However, you might take a little while to get to that point.
Yeah.
So, I know that a lot of people are looking for side hustles, right? Second incomes. Some people are actually looking to leave whatever they're doing, whether it's a bank or
Yes.
whatever job that they have, and they want to create and produce content for their clients, for corporations, for other, creators. And there's a huge opportunity out there. And I'm going to go through statistics. I'm going to go through opportunities, and I'm going to go through and share with you, what I charge and why I charge what I charge and why we should be charging that kind of money, because as producers, we are very valuable to businesses around the world, and the numbers in terms of the opportunity and the market share is going up, and I'm talking exponential. I'm
Absolutely.
talking in the next 5 years, it's going to be a few $100 billion in the live virtual event space. So I
100%
just trying to make a
agree.
little bit of a dent in that. That's all I want,
I
right?
just want a little bit of that. Just give me a little bit of that. Yeah, I mean, even when we had 2020, when that had happened and a lot of the in person events went online, a lot of people were thinking, like, oh, they're not going to do these online events anymore. And no, it just flourished. It actually proved a point that if you know how to create an experience, which is basically what we're doing, it's not just a live stream, it's creating an experience because you do really cool stuff too, where you put like the speakers in their own breakout room, and when it's their turn, then you put them in there so they could be cool, calm, and collected in that sense. Yeah, you've done like some really amazing things, but now it's just like we talk about live streams, we talk about course launches. I'm in the live shopping arena. And so I'm seeing how just remote live production for clients in the e-commerce space. I mean, got Q4 coming around the corner. Like that's where my head game is at. And so when I saw this crop up, I was very much like, I have clients that are going to do like Black Friday, Cyber Monday. They want it to look different. They want it to feel different. And at a higher price point, I think if you could deliver that chef's kiss experience, then selling that high level ticket is just going to be so much smoother. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, 100%. I mean, every business needs to, let's say, needs to upgrade their wares. They need to upgrade the way that they're doing things. And the reason why I believe this is true is because there's so much noise that's out there. There
Yeah.
is so much. We're being infiltrated with data, and in the billions of bits at every given moment of the day. And there's only so much that we can focus on. In fact, the average attention span, I think, 10, 15 years ago, we said we have the average attention span of a goldfish, somewhere around 7 seconds. We're actually less than a goldfish now, significantly less than a goldfish. I think our average span is now between 2 and 3 seconds. And so if you can't capture the audience's or the target audience's attention within those first few seconds and give them a wow, it's like you're going to lose them. And if
Mm,
you've already paid for that lead, that click, that whatever it is, you're losing a huge opportunity to the next person who is already doing that or willing to do that. And
yeah.
so, like, massive opportunities. So, live producer playbook is for the individual who wants to do that for themselves, as I'd mentioned. So if you're looking to do the stuff that you see Stephanie doing right now, or doing the stuff that you saw me in some other live streams or recorded videos to do, if you're doing that for yourself, good on you, man. Like, live producer playbook is going to teach you all the strategies and the know-hows to really make your brand a stellar brand. And then there's another avenue. Maybe you want to do it for other people. And
Yeah.
so, coaching some people today, they want to produce their own content because everything's in their own studio, but they want to use Ecamm Live. Okay, great. Live Producer Playbook is going to teach you all the fundamentals and the advanced strategies to make that local production amazing production. And then you
Gosh,
got the
that's
third part,
insane. You guys, and you're
right?
going to get all of this in this 3-day event. It's absolutely free. But then if you want the replays and all the other goodies, what is it's like 197? That's a no-brainer. To me, that's like
Yeah.
I could recoup that. Just put me in, coach. Like I do a single
Yeah.
live stream, let's say on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is generally where I find majority of my corporate clients. And them just seeing like, hey, that looks different, that sounds different. How did you do that one thing? Sometimes it's just that one thing where they're like, that's different. And if it's memorable, then that could actually make you money. You get what I'm saying? And so it's I love that you're packing everything in here. You're just kind of like pulling back the curtain because yes, you don't need like super expensive gear, which you and I were chatting about in the green room where I was like, man, I remember when. But now I feel like the gear, it's easy to, it's much more accessible, I guess I would say. It's much more lightweight. Like if I wanted to be on site, like that's one of the reasons why I didn't do on site because I felt like I had to like schlep all this stuff with me. And I just opted for a remote, which came out very handy. Are you going to teach us how to like put something on site too so I could just get over that hump? Because I did it once and then I was like, no, okay, I did it twice. And then I was like, I don't want to do that
Right.
again.
For you, I'll add it in. For you, I'll
Okay.
add that in. Yeah, I'm actually gonna be building studio sets for people. Like
Wow.
I'm actually going to do it in real time. I'm going to show you this is how I put a general studio thing together. So you could do that in your own studio, in your office, in your closet, or on site, right? I've done productions that are on-site productions where I've literally had to do what you're just saying. You're schlepping boatloads of cases of
Yeah.
equipment and tons of all these different things, and that's okay. There's a huge opportunity for that, and maybe some clients want to see that because they're like, if I'm paying you 5 grand a day, this is what I want to see. Okay, that's wonderful. However, I'm going to be really honest and frank with you. I produce the same quality at the end of the day using what I'm using, and I don't have to use all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, and Ecamm actually has been a tremendous um, gift for that because, and I've said this before, it's like prior to when I was using Ecamm and Zoom, separate apps, to bring in guests through Zoom, I had to get another computer and another computer, like one computer, special, computer just for every guest that I was going to be bringing on,
Yeah.
to have multiple speakers. And that's two something $1,000 per computer, which means if I have 5 guests, that's 5 computers, 10 grand. And now with Ecamm for Zoom, it's all integrated into one thing, and I don't need that equipment anymore. So
Are you
sold
going to
all of
teach
that off.
Ecamm to Zoom?
Well, I'm not going to be teaching Ecamm for Zoom, but I'm going to talk about why Ecamm, like how to use that and the strategies around it. Like, so when you're bringing on guests and why you're
Yeah.
going to use Zoom versus interview mode, different types of things like that. Because, right now you and I are using interview mode and
Yep.
it's phenomenal. It's a great, great experience. And then we have Ecamm for Zoom, which is the direct integration between Zoom and Ecamm. And there's pros and cons to that, as well. So, it's just another level of possibilities, and you have that choice. Like, that's the great part about Ecamm. You have that choice of choosing one way to bring in guests or another way to bring in guests,
I
and they
love that.
both work extremely well. So I'll talk about those.
Okay, so that's the part that I'm really excited about too, because you were talking about how, and this might have been in the green room where you were saying like, yeah, you have this big YouTube channel and you could live stream to your audience, but what if you could bring them in via Zoom. Like, let's say, for example, Tech Troublemaker, Scott, and Terrence, and Daryl, and even James are like, hey, you guys. I'm like, wait, James has a question. Let's bring him in. And they're like, what? It's like exclusive access. Is that anything that you're going to talk about during the 3 day? Or I'm just like telling you my wish
Totally.
list.
Okay, let me add that one. Yes, yes, of course we're going to be talking about
Okay,
that.
what else do you guys want?
Um,
Terrence, what else do you want? I'm on a roll here.
yeah, ask while you can, man. No, there's, I mean, I wish I could cover everything, but I
Yeah.
will cover a lot.
Okay.
And there is that opportunity for us to, I will be talking about that, by the way, just going live to some sort of a streaming platform, right, like
Mm.
YouTube, etc. And then just the experience of allowing people to be present in what like let's call it the back end of Zoom, and they can participate and see, and it's just another level of community building, which really at the end of the day, this is what we're doing. When we create content for ourselves or for our clients, we're building community. We're not just looking for sales. Sales comes when you build community,
Yeah.
right? Don't try to build sales without building a community. That's just not going to work, at least for the long term. And so that's why I see, a lot of these very familiar names and familiar, it's like,
Yeah.
why? It's because this is the community, and we all share information with each other. We all praise each other. We all give each other, a helping hand whenever it's needed or asked for. And then from there, it's like, okay, great. Hey guys, I've got this coming up. Does this support your audience? Does this help your audience? Just like, I approached you about this. Do you think this would help your audience? Yes.
I said
Wonderful.
absolutely yes.
What can I
And
do?
is yeah, and I love that you're doing this because sometimes people will ask me, they're like, Stephanie, when are you going to do it? I was like, I don't have time to do it. I'm like, I'm a single mom. I have retainer clients. I wish I had, the time to put something like this together, but I just don't. And so rather than just put it on the shelf and just let it collect digital dust, I'd rather lean on my friends who I know they know what it is that they do best. And if I could lend you, like, if I could email my list of 11,000 subscribers and be like, hey, my friend Daniel's doing this and I'm going to be there because I want to learn. So if you want to hang out with me too, then come through. Because again, for those of you that are hopping in, this is a 3 day live producer playbook masterclass. It's free. And then if you want to get access to everything, which PS, by the way, you absolutely will want to. I mean, 197 is a no brainer. Like for me, I'm just kind of like, that's like 10 minutes of a consult for me. I'm just like,
Really,
it's,
honestly,
yeah, because
I
sometimes
wanted to
clients
make
will
it
call you and
accessible.
just be like, how do I make my audio sound better? And I bet you, like, even the little portion that you'll tell them is like, this is all that you need. And it's not going to break the bank where they have to, like, open up a new credit card just to meet the sub, right? No, it's great. I love
Yeah,
it. Good, good, good.
yeah,
So,
totally.
what else can
And
other
and I
people
also wanted to
expect?
share one more thing, if it's possible.
Yeah.
This is a 3-day live training event. It's completely free. You have the option to upgrade to the All Access Pass, which is $197. So with that, you get the recordings for a year. You get some extra downloads and templates. You get my agreement that I actually give to clients, which is the contract, which it's like you can fill in the blanks and give that to your clients, and then you have an
Yeah.
understanding, like all of these different cool things. And it's like I want it to be super accessible to everybody. So if you go for the free, you can actually upgrade at any time during 3 days. You don't so it's like, yeah,
Oh,
do
you're
I
so
want you to
nice. Look
upgrade
at
to a
you. You're being
pass?
nice.
And on top of that, I'm not going to increase the price. So during the 3 days, it's $197. And so you have that opportunity to actually give me that opportunity to prove to you that the information that I'm giving you is valuable. And I
Yeah.
know it's valuable. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I made a significant level of income in the past couple years alone just from doing these live production events for other people. And so I know that, again, if you're looking for a side hustle, an extra income, looking to change your career, blah blah blah, all of that stuff, you're going to learn a lot of cool stuff. And I hope that my information to you inspires you to show you that there is more out there, that there is opportunity. You know, the world is huge. Our
Yeah.
communities are huge. Even though, maybe me and a bunch of other people might do the same thing, the opportunity is massive. We're not competing against each other. What we're doing is we're teaching people that all of us can exist in the same space, offering even similar things or overlapping things, but it just grows everybody, right? What is it called? A rising tide raises all ships. That's what it's about.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that there are different organizations that sometimes reach out to me and they'll say, Stephanie, can you help us host an event? And if it's something that aligns with my vision and my values, as well as my flexibility and freedom, then yes, I'll do it. And the reason why I say that is because one of the orgs that reached out to me, it's like, Stephanie, we're on the East Coast and we always host an event on Sundays at 9 a.m. We would love to work with you. And I was like, I am sorry, friend. You are on the East Coast. I am in San Diego. That means every Sunday at 6 a.m. I was like, no, because on Saturdays, I'm going to have movie night with my girl, like my little girl, and we're going to do stuff. And if I want to go to Disneyland, I don't want to have to like cut that short, So instead of me making those sacrifices, I would rather just toss it to someone else in the Live Producer Playbook community and just be like, hey, who wants this? Because I can't fulfill this, even though I know, like, skill-wise, yes, I can. It just doesn't align with my values in that sense. And so I think this is a really cool thing to have.
Totally, totally. Oh, by the way, you're teaching all of day two. Did you get that memo? I don't know if you.
I think I tossed it over to Doc. And Taryn said I am not traveling either. Oh, I got this for you. How you like that? Yes, I know. It's been a while. I haven't live streamed for a minute. I've been in a witness protection program. Well, honestly, I've been geeking out on something. I told you about it. I've been testing out a new platform, and it's been interesting to see how it works out. But I definitely wanted to make time for this event because, like I said, I always want to learn new skills, and I know that I know there are things that I don't know, and I won't know that until I'm actually exposed to someone else's workflow process and how they go about it. And what I like about this too is that other people will be there. I think like Terrence will be there too. And I learn when other people ask questions because they'll look at it from a different perspective. I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. Or maybe I could share my experience of like, oh, well, this is how I overcame that hurdle. And then just to have your experience as well, just to share like, well, here's the backup of the backup. I'm like, wait a second, what? I think that'll be
Why
fun.
we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to absorb. We're here to grow. And I really hope that I'm able to provide a tremendous amount of value to you and your audience for this event.
Absolutely. So I'm super excited for it. So if people wanted to head over to this, for those of you that are watching this one, it's going to be in there in the description. It's lightscamera.live/live producer. That's how I remembered it. I should have just made it producer because then I was like, why did I put an extra live in there? But it is what it is. But for those of you that are interested in this, if it's been playing in the back of your mind, what I will tell you, like I said to Daniel, was I'm very busy. And I like to invest my time into things that align with my values. And they are whatever gives me the freedom, the flexibility, and creativity, and also makes me a lot of money. Those are the things I'll do. But if you're like, Stephanie, every Sunday, 6 a.m., no, I'm not interested, right? And so this totally aligns with it, whether you are trying to make an exit from your 9 to 5, your job. If this is even something you just want to learn as a side hustle and all that other stuff, then this is a good opportunity. And I hope you guys will come through. Anything else that you'd want to tell them?
You know what? I think if you're not already in that space of producing content for yourself or for your clients, and if it's like you're watching this and you're like, that actually is intriguing. I just want you to ask yourself the question, what if, right? What if I did that? What if I can grow a business doing that? What if? And I just want you to ask yourself that. And the reason why is because your brain is going to start to come up with answers and solutions of why, right? So just ask yourself that. What if? That's all I'm going to leave you with.
What if? What if? I'll leave you with something. It's not wake up and win. It's wake up and win. So show up next week. 3 days. You're going to learn so much. I promise you, because I'm already gearing up for it. I blocked out my whole entire calendar because I was like, I don't even know when this landing page is coming out, But I told everyone, I was like, do not call me, do not bother me. Babe, when I tell you I got my out of office message like ready, I was prepared. I was like, as soon as you drop the dates, I was like, out of office setting done. Nobody bother me. Email signature says, P.S. by the way, I am out these 3 days because I'm going to be hanging out with Daniel and the rest of the crew. So let me be. So if you guys want to be a part of it too, come on through. Let's level up together. Let's learn everything that Daniel has to offer us in this live producer playbook, because I know I can't wait to integrate all of it. So Daniel, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. All right, friends. Well, we'll catch you next time. I'll end the stream for now. And then hopefully I'll see you next week. I'm going to see you next week because it's wake up and win, not win. All right. Bye, friends.
Sounds good.